Have you ever been asked a question that was way too hard for you to answer or tripped you up? Or that was weird?
Yeah, I've been asked a couple of weird ones actually. A few months ago, there's this show out of Illinois called "It Burns When I Pee," which is a great name for a radio show. But they do like kind of underground roots country music and stuff. And they had fan questions, and one of them was, and it was actually I knew who, like it was from a friend. I knew where it was coming from. They kind of staged it, but whether or not I preferred newer Metallica or Metallica in the 80s, which that's obviously, you know me, you're fucking with me. But then the other one, which was really kind of caught me off guard in a silly way, was how many golf balls can you fit in your mouth? And that was right in the middle of like a really deep, eloquent, like really, covering shit, relevant shit. And it was really funny, like a totally laugh out loud kind of moment. But we're going to figure it out when we do the Muddy Roots Festival. Blake, the guy that does the show, is actually going to bring new golf balls, and we're going to figure out how many golf balls I can. Because I was like, well, you know what? I don't know. And I was in my car at the time, and I was like, I'm trying to imagine. I was literally like thinking it through, I was like, how do I do this? And we're laughing, was just having fun with it and stuff. And I was like, I'll tell you what, dude, if we can have golf balls, or I'll bring golf balls at Muddy Roots, we will figure it out. And you can film it, and we'll put it on the show. Like, that's the thing that the most out of the blue one that I can think of. Because I try to keep things like an open book. Like I talk about my addiction, I talk about relationships. I don't go into names specifically. I keep it tasteful. I don't want to get anything that too personal and involves someone else without their blessing. But as far as my take on things and what I've been through, without getting too specific name-wise, like anything goes. That's something that I get asked a fair amount. People will ask me, like, do you feel comfortable talking about that, about addiction or something? And I enjoy talking about that. Like, I feel like I can help people. And I know I have. I've written songs about addiction, and I've talked with people at shows, and I know of several people over the years that have quit drinking or quit doing drugs, and I've helped them to do that. And that's something that I feel awesome to be able to do, and I want to continue to do. Like, I plan on writing a book at some point, from kind of a agnostic, atheist, non-religious rock and roll guy that's gone through addiction and got his shit together. Like, you can do this with or without NA or AA, and how to approach it if you're not into the God speak. How you can go to AA and not have it drive you nuts. Like, I feel like I have a perspective that needs to be shared, because most books you see like that, it's the classic rock and roll drug dude. They become a total born again Christian, and it's a religious thing, and it puts a lot of people off. And same story, same thing. I went to AA too, but I didn't find God. You don't have to do that either,
Do you find it hard to play in bars where that's constantly around you?
It used to be. It doesn't mess with me now so much because I've gotten used to it. I actually spend more time in bars since I haven't been drinking than when I did, which I think that's part of it, because it's what I do. Like, I play about 250 shows a year, and I would say damn near every one of those is in a bar. And the last beer I had was in 2010, and I haven't been drunk in, it'll be 10 years at some point this year. I don't remember the exact date. But I've gotten so used to it, it's so commonplace now, to where it doesn't bug me. Like, I don't feel the urge to drink. What bugs me from time to time, though, is being around stupid behavior. And, drunks that are out of hand. Fights, drama. Trying to hold a conversation with someone that can't form their sentences because they're so wasted. But I go to great lengths not to be judgmental in those instances, because I was that drunk once. And I know I annoyed the piss out of people because I was drunk. And I was like on that record on repeat is how I describe it. You run into that person 5 different times and they're telling you the exact same thing. And I've been that guy. So it's like, I can't judge someone for being in that state. I was in that state too. Neither one of us are better or worse. It's just different stages of life.
Does that give you a unique perspective on how to diffuse things like that, or maybe?
Yeah, sometimes I think so, because I can usually see the problems brewing with a clearer head. I can see, usually a lot of times I can walk into a bar and within seconds, you can tell who the troublemakers are. You can tell who the real wasted one is, or who's going to start a fight, or who's going to be out of hand, and or who you're going to deal with and have an awkward moment. Like, you can tell that person's going to come up and, you know, to you. But yeah, I think that too, being able to see that, there have been times where I've seen that brewing and I've been able to talk to someone involved with that to help diffuse it, or maybe the door guy or something, or the person at the bar, or the booker, like, hey, you might want to watch this one, or like, yeah, I know that I've done that from time to time.
What is the hardest part of touring?
Huh. Being away from home in some ways is hard, but at the same time, just like back to the last thing that you asked me too, I feel like everywhere I go is my home. Like, I have extended family everywhere I go. I have really dear friends, brothers and sisters everywhere I go. So that's not as hard. It not seeing my son for times, or my immediate family, that can be hard. I miss my cat too sometimes, you know. I love my cat. And just friends, dear friends that I have back home, but it's a wonderful predicament to have. Like, when I think about it, I usually don't get, I start feeling down, but then quickly I kick into feeling just overwhelmed with joy that I am so fortunate to be able to have this reality. Like, I'm often, you know, I see wonderful people and I'll get bummed leaving that town. You know, I have to be hanging with some really good friends for a night or two, or maybe a week if I got some time off. I'm bummed, but that like instantly goes into being excited to going to where I'm going. You know, it's a charmed life.
So you have a son.
I do.
How do you deal with that, being on tour 2/3 out of the year?
I think a big part of it is his age. He just turned 19.
Wow.
Like, if he was little, this wouldn't work. And I didn't tour like this when he was younger too. I couldn't have done it, or wouldn't have done it, for a number of reasons. Him being younger is a big part of that. Also, my drinking. I wasn't capable of doing what I'm doing now. I was a really, really bad alcoholic. Physically, spiritually, psychologically, and financially, I couldn't do what I'm doing. And I'm not making a lot of money now, but I was living paycheck to paycheck because of booze when I did have a good paying job. My voice also was blown out because of that. So yeah, it's like I couldn't have done that. Him being older and me being older, wiser, I think, healthier, not being that drunk, is what allows me to do that.
What's he think of his dad being a rock and roll star?
He digs it. I'm sure in some ways it's kind of a drag, but all in all, we've talked about it a lot. We've talked about what I do and why I do it and how he feels about it. And there have been moments where I've had something going up and I've asked him specifically, are you cool with me doing this? You know, and be honest with me. Don't feel like I want you to say yes. I want you to be honest with me, because if you don't want me to do this, you know, we can discuss it. We can compromise. You know, if you're missing me too much, you know, maybe I can not tour so much. We can work on this, you know. And I've talked to him about that with drinking too, and what it did with me. And like, my greatest accomplishment, I feel, is that I quit drinking before my son could come to an age to resent me for it. I feel like I got my shit together in time to do that. And he's my biggest fan. I don't know if he's my biggest fan musically, but as far as believing in me and being proud of me, I feel that he's my biggest fan. And I know that he's proud of me. He's told me that. And there have been times where he's just randomly called me or sent me a text message, and it's ironic how to work. It might be at a dark point where I'm just not doing well. I'm really just kind of frustrated, tired, worn out on the road, and he'll just be like, "Dad, don't ever quit. You know, keep doing what you're doing." And it just brings tears to my eyes, because it's you can't hope for more than that as a parent. And my hope is that by doing this, by doing what I'm doing, it'll inspire him to do what he wants to do with his life. And we've discussed that in depth too. And it doesn't matter what that is. Like, do what you want to do. If you want to play video games, if you want to be a ballet dancer, like, whatever it is, man, do it. If you believe in it and you want to do it. I support you 200%. You know.
You're talking about the first record you put out on Farmageddon was Jake from the Goddamn Gallows.
Yeah.
And how many bands are on Farmageddon right now?
Officially, I think 15 or 20 maybe. I'm not sure exactly because part of the charm about it and part of what I love about Farmageddon is that it's very much a community co-op kind of thing. We work with a lot of people that aren't necessarily quote unquote Farmageddon artists or that we may or may not put out albums with, but we're still trying to help them out too. Like basically, if it's good material, good people, we want to help them out, kind of thing. Whether they have the Farmageddon label on it or not is that's not the big thing. We're trying to help each other out. Like we don't look at it as a competition. You know, and we're all trying to help each other out. That's what we're supposed to do as human beings.
And you guys are putting on your first festival.
Yep. Farmageddon Music Fest, which is July 20th, 22nd of this year, 2012, which we're hoping to do an annual, do it every year. And yeah, it's going to be amazing. It's going to be at Hebgen Lake in West Yellowstone, which is just a beautiful, beautiful area, mountains and trees, beautiful lake, outdoor festival with one stage. And I think we have something like 50 bands. And it's a really cool lineup too. And it's the type of thing that if you want to, you can see every band because of it being on one stage. And it's neat. Yeah, just the fact that we will hit our 2-year mark just like the month before doing that, and we're doing this festival, this magnitude is it's exciting. It's neat.
Could you do what you do without the support of Farmageddon Records?
I don't think so at this point. I mean, I was doing what I'm doing, but it's growing to such a bigger level. Being involved in Farmageddon and all of us involved in Farmageddon, we're all sharing the love and telling each other about each other, and the fan bases intermingle too. There's like this cross-pollination because a lot of the people involved too, we have been touring for several years, we've been playing for a long time, and kind of building up our own following and fan base, doing our thing. And by working together, it helps make that much bigger and grow. So we were all doing what we were doing independently before Farmageddon came about, but I think Farmageddon has made it much more fulfilling and much more of a broader scope. It encompasses a lot more people.
Why do you play music? Why don't you get a real job?
This is my real job, I'm proud to say. I joke about it, but it's true that I think playing music, it stopped being a choice the second I picked up a guitar. Like it really took over my life. In ways both good and bad. I finally found my calling, my all-consuming passion in life. Before that, I was a well-balanced kid. I got good grades. I was popular in school. I was active. I played sports. I did everything like you're supposed to do as a kid. And I was a good kid. I was a popular kid. And then I picked up a guitar, and within the course of a summer, that all changed. Yeah, I can't imagine. I've never been happy doing the 9-to-5 thing, and a lot of people aren't happy doing it that are doing it. I felt I'd injured myself at work the last job I had, and the second time I got hurt, I was in the injured workers recovery program, and I was thinking about it. Like, what am I waiting for? I know this is what I want to do with my life. This is what I've been doing with my life while working 40, 50, 60 hours a week, and having that conflict of almost like living two lives simultaneously was it was too much. And I felt like something had to change, and it definitely wasn't the music. So I decided at that point, it was July 2007 that I quit my job, and I said, I'm not going to regret doing this, no matter what happens with it. I'm not trying to be rich or famous. But if I don't do this, and all of a sudden I blink a few times and I'm 50 or 60 looking at retirement, that is something that I would regret in my life. And I don't believe in regret. I believe that we have control over what, of that. And if you follow your heart and do what you want to do with your life, you won't regret that. There's give and take and sacrifices involved for sure, but that you won't regret making that decision, that it's worth it. It's been worth it for me.
Which brings me to my favorite question. How do you define success personally for you in music? What would be success for James Hunnicutt?
To me, success is to, I feel I'm successful right now. even though I'm not financially successful. That definitely needs improvement. But just to be able to do what I love and make a living doing it, to me, that's my goal of success with music. To continue doing what I love without sacrificing my integrity, you know, creating the music that I want to play, that I want to hear, that I want to sing from my heart, real stuff, and to be able to pay my bills doing that, to me, that's success. Like, and I feel like I'm almost there. Anything past that is icing on the cake. That's it. That's, to me, that's success, is to be able to do, for me personally, to be able to do what I love without sacrificing the creativity or integrity of it, and to be able to live somewhat comfortably financially. That's success.
What kind of, do you have any, if finances weren't an issue, do you have any giant ambitious plans you'd like to do musically?
Yeah, there's definitely some goals. There are musicians I'd like to work with, which I've been fortunate enough to work with a lot of people that I admire as people and as musical talents. To continue to do that, I have some pretty grand ideas with albums, as far as very involved albums that involve that'll involve a lot of time, a lot of instrumentation, a lot of work, which requires money too. I think taking the money out of the equation, I would record a lot more than I do, because I have to play to somewhat stay afloat, you know. I have to play to stay sane, more importantly, because it's how I let out the negativity in my life, to sing my songs. Like, it's how I get my fix. Like, that's what drinking used to be, but on a deeper level, it's that vice. It's how I stay healthy, you know, let it out of my system. I have to play a lot, but I know that if money wasn't an issue, I would be more prolific with my recording, because I've written thousands of songs to this point in my life. If money wasn't an issue, I would be far busy recording them. I wouldn't be on the road as much. I would be, I don't know, kicking out several albums a year. I would be recording like just a motherfucker.
What are your biggest influences on the music you write? You don't confine yourself to one genre in your history.
That's very important to me too. A number of stuff. I love the Beatles. I'm a metalhead. I love Hank Williams. I love old roots music, old country music, bluegrass, classical music, punk rock from the 70s and 80s. There's so much stuff. I just love music. Yeah, and to me, if it's got soul to it, if it's got passion, sincerity, if it comes from the heart, I dig it. You know, and whether it's Slayer, or NWA, or Hank Williams, I love those things, and they inspire me. That's what I love. Crafty songwriting. I love melody. I like different sounds, whether it's acoustic, organic stuff, or really super heavy type metal. But the most important thing that I like to think is within the things that hit me the most is that it's sincere, that it comes from the heart.
Do you go through musical phases in what you're listening to?
Oh yeah, definitely.
What's your current phase?
My current phase is definitely metal. Definitely metal. A lot of old Slayer, a lot of old Metallica, Hellhammer, Celtic Frost. I like new wave of British heavy metal too, so I listen to a lot of Diamond Head, Angel Witch, Venom, stuff like that. But it comes and goes. But that's definitely, it's been, I'd say 99% of what's been, and some Sabbath, Electric Wizard, stuff like that. But yeah, 99% of my diet lately has definitely been metal.
Who of your friends who are musicians, I mean, do you get inspiration from some of your friends playing music?
Oh, big time, big time.
Who are some of your favorites?
I'm lucky to, a lot of my favorites are actually involved with Farmageddon, which is really, really cool. I love what Jake's doing. It's an honor to play with Jake. He inspires me. Graham Lindsay inspires me. Rachel Brooke inspires me. The Goddamn Gallows. The Goddamn Gallows are my favorite band out there today. I definitely want to say that. Such a cool, unique mix of stuff. Great songs, great guys, great performance. But beyond that, though, you know, I like to think that everything I hear, everybody I play with influences me to some degree, even if it's in an adverse way. Maybe I hear a band and I really don't care for them. Maybe it reminds me of how I don't want to do it. or if I run into somebody and they're assholes, that the influence there is it reminds me how I don't want to be as a person. But yeah, there are just so many people, and it goes way past Farmageddon too. It's not just the people that I'm immediately dealing with the most. There are a lot of really cool, passionate, and talented people out there that are doing it because they love it. And that goes way beyond Farmageddon. I think what I love about Farmageddon is that it's a very good representation of that, of what's going on today. It's a condensed collection of a good number of those talents and those people.
It's beautiful. Is there anything else you want to add?
Just to thank everybody. Thank you for doing this, man. And thank everybody that's out there that's listening to what we're doing, that's spreading the word, that's coming to the shows, that's buying the albums, posting stuff, spreading video clips around. Like, you know, we can't do it without each other. You know, I'm a big, I try to push that with everybody that I talk with and that I meet, whether they play or a fan at the show, that we're in this together, you know, that we're here to help each other out, and that it's the product of all of us working together. We're not supposed to go it alone. I wouldn't be able to do this if it was, I love playing music. I write it because I love what, you know, I try to write what I want to hear. It's very selfish at its core on a creative level. But I wouldn't be able to do it and make a living if it wasn't for everybody else, and or make a DVD, because it would just be making a DVD so I could watch it if it wasn't for everyone else, and that's ridiculous, you know.